Hello. Is it possible to make a very personal work of art by replicating others? Well, if you see the work of the American conceptual artist Sturtevant, you can only say yes. Sturtevant has repeated works by stars in the art market like Warhol, Duchamp and Stella, often well before they became famous. Now, an exhibition at Paris's Modern Art Museum features a selection of her most important works, as well as some new ones. And I'm delighted to say Elaine Sturtevant joins us now. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to France 24.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, there are two parts of this exhibition, the razzle-dazzle of thinking. There's Wild to Wild and, my favourite, the House of Horrors. Talk us through the exhibition for those people who haven't had a chance to go and see it. What can they expect to see there?
What can they expect to see? You mean when they go from Wild to Wild to the House of Horror? Well, the Wild to Wild is more about image over image, which is what we're about now in our cybernetic world. And so it has more space in terms of triggering thinking, and it brings you back to yourself. And it had to be in exact opposition to the other exhibition. So when I was devising the other part, I knew that it had to be very different. So then House of Horror seemed like a good idea. So the House of Horror is really, it's just entertainment. But the nice thing is that Wild Wild had the ability to give it the force of opposition. So that brings it up to a higher level. So that's very nice. It's very good.
And I noticed when I was there's even parents bringing their kids to go and have a go on the ghost train in the House of Horrors. Is that the kind of thing you wanted, or? Oh,
we knew. I mean, this was not done with closed eyes. No, of course. We also, I anticipated people would be more attracted to the House of Horror than the Wild to Wild. People don't really like to think or reflect. So entertainment, of course, is super, and so then that's also the cybernetic part of the exhibition. Yeah.
Now, you are an artist really like no other. I read one critic say, you copy artwork, but you're not a copyist. You are a renegade female artist, but you're not a feminist.
That's right.
What do you see yourself as?
I see myself as a very strong woman, and, with a lot of force, a lot of power, and total enchantment and love of living, of being. Yes, that's how I see myself.
Now, a few decades ago, I won't go into how many, but you decided to start replicating, if that's what you call it, I'm not sure, other people's work.
Mm-hmm.
Why and when did you decide to do that?
Oh, that was quite some time ago. That was when in the early 60s. And at that time, everything was very surface. Like we had the abstract expressionists were just burning out then, and then we had pop art, which was the very top. So both those movements are all about surface. All right. So having been sort of embedded in that, I mean surrounded by it, it became clear that I had to, that one would want to think about the understructure of art. So that's how I came into it.
And you were quite ahead of your time, because lots of the work that you replicated, it was done by quite unknown artists who later went on to become sort of superstars, didn't they? How did you have such a good vision? Was it just a coincidence, or?
Oh, it's never a coincidence. No, it never happens as a coincidence. It's, I think it was about having distance from the self. And so then you have the ability to see what's going on and what will go on. Yeah.
So what are you trying to say with your works, with your art?
Oh, my God, you want to come to the seminar?
In a minute, if you can sum it up in a minute.
In a minute. I'm talking about cybernetics intrusion, which includes its digital underling. I'm talking about the imposition that our cybernetic world is now imposing on us in our life, in our being, in our food, in our way of in every way. And so then that also impinges on the art world and what you have as art today. Briefly.
Briefly. What do you think about work like Andy Warhol's, that people automatically recognise and they associate something with it? What do you think? Is that sort of art good?
Well, you have to. For this work to function, you have to know the artist. See, you'd have to know Warhol. When you look at one of my 10-foot flowers, then you have to know Warhol, because otherwise it doesn't function. Otherwise it'd just be Sturtevant doing a 10-foot flower.
Okay, well, I'm sorry to say we're out of time, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
For coming
it's been
and
a
speaking
pleasure.
to us. And the Razzle Dazzle of Thinking, the exhibition at the Musée d'Art Moderne de la Ville in Paris, is on until the 25th of April. Now moving on to something completely different. In India, Fashion Week has been taking place in the capital, New Delhi. Scores of designers showed off their latest creations for autumn-winter. But while Indian fashion for women tends to be traditional saris and salwar kameez, a new set of designers are forging a different path. Designers like Amit Agarwal, who's fast becoming one of the country's rising stars. Take a look.
It's just days to India Fashion Week, and in his Delhi studio, Amit Agarwal is putting the finishing touches to his collection for his show. At 29, he's one of India's hottest young designers, shaking up the scene with fresh looks for a new generation of daring fashion lovers.
I think edgy, crazy, quirky kind of a woman is what I aim at when I make my clothes.
Amit's contemporary style is certainly a world away from the traditional clothes most Indian women wear. But he's hoping some will be tempted to swap their saris for something a little different.
India is also coming of age, and to just keep on doing what regularly Indian designers do would be a shame, because we have such a vast facility of everything that the country can offer.
It's finally the day of the catwalk show. Backstage, models are getting ready, and so far, it's all going smoothly.
Everything looks good.
Not only does everything look good, but Amit's also notching up some rather glamorous fans.
Amit Agarwal is like, his clothes are amazing, his cuts are amazing, and what he does is just so different from a lot of Indian fashion, but he's done so well for himself as a new designer. So.
There's just a few minutes to the show, and the pressure really is on.
I'm just all a bundle of nerves again, but the garments look fabulous, so I'm quite excited.
Excuse me, please.
A palette of muted colours, with splashes of mustard and green. It's an art-inspired mix, perfect for an autumn-winter wardrobe.
He's unique, and I think he's extremely talented. In fact, in this season, he's in Vogue's, top 12 designers for spring-summer. And I think he's just going from strength to strength.
That's high praise indeed from those in the know. The show's a huge success, and for Amit, it's a huge relief.
You can see it on my face. But I'm glad it went off well. There was chaos backstage, but I don't think anything trickled down to the front, so it's okay.
While the lights may have dimmed, it looks as if India's rising fashion star is still shining bright.
Well, that brings us to the end of the Culture Show. Thank you for joining me and the artist Sturtevant for this edition. I'll be seeing you tomorrow for more culture from around the world.